Well, the way I got started in photography was really through my father. I remember when I was younger, my father, when we were at family reunions or family events, he would always give me a camera and be like, go take a picture of your cousins, go take a picture of your auntie and your uncles, your grandparents. And I used to be like, Joe, Dad, seriously, I don't want to do this. Um, but really, that was kind of what birthed me into photography, and that's really what got me started. I remember when I was a junior in high school, my father gave me my first camera. It was a Canon AE1 manual camera, and I started shooting with that. And when I was doing it, I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. And then I remember being in college, and when I would come home for the summer, my uncle, Granville Lee, was a wedding photographer. And so he would call me and say, look, man, come out, make a little change. Um, and so I would go out to these weddings and carry his lights around or his camera bags. And I remember one day he was like, man, why don't you bring your camera, take some shots? And I took some shots, and he was like, man, you got a really good eye. He's like, I don't know if you know this, but I think this might be something you want to look into. And that's really how I got started. I got started doing wedding photography. I remember the first time I got my first check, I was like, wow, this is okay. But as I kept doing it, I started to realize that wedding photography wasn't really my thing, so I don't do that anymore. People will ask me, and I usually say, nah, I'll pass. One of my photography mentors always said, find one thing great that you do and do that. He said, don't be good at everything. And so I love doing portrait photography, um, and that's something I'm trying as hard as I can to become great at, because it's really what I love to do. I love taking pictures of people. I love being able to try to capture not just their look, but capture who they are, so that when people look at the picture, they say, wow, whoever took this, man, they really caught you. The thing I love about photography is the ability to capture moments, to capture a piece of history. I love picture books. You give me a magazine that got pictures and books that got pictures, and you got me. You know, but sometimes I think about, like, when you look at like a picture of Martin Luther King, giving a speech, or you look at a picture of your grandparents, that literally that picture captured and held on to a moment that even if you weren't there, it puts you there. It allows you to experience something maybe for the first time, or maybe to experience it over and over again. And so that's the thing I really love, is that you get to capture these moments in history. The other thing I love about photography, especially photographing people, is that it allows me an opportunity to make people feel comfortable within themselves. A lot of times when you get these lights up and these cameras with these big lenses, people kind of go into their shell. I like the opportunity to make them comfortable enough that I can get a picture that they say, wow, that's me. I've got a lot of people that I admire, a lot of people who I think do great photography. My top three, though, two who have passed, one who is still living, and literally is a living giant. Um, uh, Richard Avedon, Gordon Parks, and Annie Leibovitz. Those are my top three. I mean, when I say my top three, those are my top three. All for different reasons. Richard Avedon, I loved him because he could put you on a white backdrop. And when I say he could grab the essence of who you were through his camera, which I think is just, that's just skill, you know. Annie Leibovitz, oh my gosh, her lighting and the creative process of what she comes up with, and just the way she just makes makes light dance is incredible. And I love her work. And then Gordon Parks. I mean, what more can you say? I mean, that's who I first got introduced to photography through, was looking at his stuff. Half Past Autumn is a book that I've probably looked at a million times and just been amazed and blown away. The other thing about him that I love is that he wasn't just a photographer. You know, he's a director. He was a author. I mean, he was literally just a Renaissance man. And so those would be my three. But then I have others that, you know, that I love, especially those who are still living. I love Chase Jarvis. I think is a phenomenal just mind, like just not just about photography, but just the way he thinks. Zach Arias, Derek Blanks out of Atlanta, Melissa Rodwell in LA, Drew Gardner in the UK. I mean, it's so many photographers that are just doing amazing work, and I've always lived by the model that if you want to be great, then you need to surround yourself with people who are great. Somebody once asked me what would be a dream photo shoot for me. And a dream photo shoot, I've got two answers. And either one of them would be a dream for me. I want to either shoot the cover of Vibe or the cover of Vogue, V or V. You know, I've grown up in the hip hop generation, so Vibe is that thing that would be like, yeah, that's my stuff right there. You know, so to take a picture of a Nicki Minaj or a Lil Wayne or, oh, come on, man, Jay-Z, seriously, and it was mine, whew, that'd be it. Or Vogue. You know, I love fashion. I had the opportunity this year to shoot at Fashion Week in New York. Oh my gosh, one of the most amazing experiences that I've ever had, literally. And so let me shoot for Vibe, let me shoot for Vogue. And if I can do both, you probably could go ahead and let me go to heaven the next day. That'd be good. Yeah. Like as soon as I finish the last one, I just probably close my eyes and say, Lord, just take me home. I'm good. What do I consider to be a great compliment? A great compliment is saying, I see what you saw. You know, for somebody to be able to say, I see what you saw, that's probably the greatest compliment that I'll ever get, because I want people to be able to see what I see and see it in a way that it makes them smile. The one thing I would love to be remembered for as a photographer is one that I knew what I was doing. You know, I think that one of the challenges now is that everybody considers themselves a photographer because they got a camera. And that's not what makes you a photographer. What makes you a photographer is knowing what you're doing, number one. Knowing what a shutter speed is, and knowing what your aperture is, and knowing how to manipulate and play with light, knowing how to compose a shot. It's not just having a good eye, you know, but it's being able to incorporate all of what it takes to really be able to create images that mean something. The other thing, though, is that I don't just want to be known for being a great photographer, but I want to be able to merge my passion for photography with my purpose in life. I want people to be able to look at my photography and not just see a picture, but I want it to be thought-provoking. One of the things that I'm doing in my next level of photography is doing more projects that touch the heart of people. And so I want not just to be known as a guy who takes a great photograph, but I want to be known as the guy who takes a photograph that makes you think, or makes you better, or challenges you. And so that's what I want to be remembered for.